Hi guys, welcome to my another review. This time is a Lotus 1990, but it's a late version, not the early version. This one is for the Japanese Grand Prix, which has a different body style and also I believe different intakes for the turbo. It's of course a car driven by Senna. So let's have a look at the kit. Well, as usual, it comes in the famous red box with MFH logo on top, and well, first thing we see is the instruction. Then all the parts are nicely padded inside of the box. So we have one. These are the metal parts. And other materials. These are the wheels. And then of course the body and the bottom tray, the tires, and usually underneath there is the decal, and the photo-etch parts, and also couple of wires. Okay, now let's look at the parts one by one. And here is the body. Well, it's very nicely cast as usual from Model Factory Hero. And you can see the resin casting, it's very thin. And then here is the bottom tray. Very thin. And very little distortion. And here is the monocoque. It's at the top part. And of course the bottom part. Yeah, the casting is very nice and clean. Yeah, the casting is very nice and clean. And here is a bag full of other resin parts. Here we have the gearbox. It's nicely detailed. the seats. Part of the frame inside the monocoque. Oh, we have 2 seats, so there must be one for Senna and other one for Nakajima. I believe it is part of the radiator. And then 2 side panels for the body. It's very nice. With lots of detail cast in. The engine block. Yeah, this is the other side of the radiator. And then here is some panels for the side pod air intakes. Oh, this is the bulkhead. And then the front wing. And then the bottom of the engine block. And also we have a few 3D printed pieces. And here are some of the electronic devices. And then the turbos. Very nice. And then we have a couple bags of white metal parts. Now there are so many of them, I can only try to show them one by one. Because some of my subscriber leave comment down below asking me to show the parts in more detailed way. But look at the number of them, you know. If I try to show close-up shot of all of them one by one, this review is gonna take like hours. So I tried to show you some of the pieces, and I tried to tell you what they are, if I know what they are. Okay, I believe these are the rear wings. Yeah, 2 pieces. So I guess again there are two versions of rear wings. Probably one for Senna and one for Nakajima. And these are some of the smaller parts. The pedals. I cannot tell what they are until we put them together. It's part of the these must be part of the engines and all that. Well, you can see that the casting of white metal is the usual quality. This must be the wheels nut. Front suspension, I believe. Well, because of the casting process of the white metal, they're bound to be fresh. And the mold parting lines, so we need to clean them up. Try to arrange it so you can see it, so I don't have to hold them up one by one. And here is the second batch of white metal parts. Now I tried to show them piece by piece. These must be part of the end plate for the end wings. And there are 4 pieces of them, so there are 2 versions, I believe. I believe the Nakajima's version is different from the front wings end plate. Yeah, the Nakajima version will be must be different from Sana's version. Yeah, these castings are really thin. For white metal, it's a really thinly cast. Radiator for the side part. Part of the engines. The overhead cam cover for the engine. Again, very nicely detailed. The cooling duct for the brake. The air intake for the turbos. Well, other end plates for the front wing. Some suspension arms. And the other intakes for the brake. This must be for the rear brakes. And then we have to break this. And then some of the uprights. The winglets of the front wing. And then some other detail parts. And then we have the wheels and some other metal parts. But there are so many parts in this kit, I just can't believe it. Now look at the wheels. And boy, there are 2 sets of wheels. Okay? 2 sets of wheels. I can't tell which from which, but anyways. Okay, here's the star. I believe these are 1 set. The star wheels. And here's the other set. 2 sets of wheels. And then we come to the last bag of metal parts. And this bag contains some of the rivets. These are so small. And then the bricks. The 4 of them. The driven shafts. And then some other detailing part for the engine compartment. And then we have the Photo-etch thread. Yeah, the usual items such as the radiator mesh, some of the plates on the bottom tray. And then we have a bag full of other materials. This is the windshield. It's a vac form as usual. Springs and screws. And then the ribbon for the safety belt. And then some soft resin parts. And then we have the decals. This is the carbon fiber decals for the monocoque. I don't want to open them because they are what they are. And, they all look the same, right? Carbon fiber. And here's the here's the decal for the body. And here's the logo. One for the body and one for the steering wheel, I believe. And then you can see that there's a second sheet of decal underneath the main ones. Now this is the one that I cannot show here. and you all know what it contains. So anybody who has modeled the Lotus 99T Camel know what those decals are. Lastly, we come to the instruction. So take a quick look. Well, we can see that now Model Factory Hero use photo for the instruction. And we start with the monocoque and the driver's compartment with all the steering wheels and stuff like that. Then we come to the front suspension and brakes. And here's some of the electronic devices. The two different kinds of roll bar. One for Nakajima and one for Senna. More on the monocoque. And then we come to the engine assembly. You can see the multiple parts that need to build the engine into a very detailed little replica. And then we have the gearbox and the other plumbings and stuff like that. And you need to cut the spring into two parts for the suspension, the rear suspension complex, and the whole engine assembly here. Then we have the, I believe these are the radiator housing. Yeah, you can see that, this is a very unique feature for the Formula 1 car at that era. And then how it looks like when it's built. And then the turbos and the air intake for the cooling of the turbo. How it fits together. And then the detailing metal plate for the bottom tray, and using screw to fix the bottom tray to the monocoque. And here's the front wings, rear wings, and here you can see that there are two versions. Front wing, one version of front wing, and then two versions of rear wings. One for Nakajima and then the other for Senna. And then finally we have the body with different headrests for different car. And then two sets of wheels. Again, one for Nakajima, one for Senna. And finally, you have the spacer to make sure the car is riding in the right height. And the front has all the decal placement and the painting guide. I know some people like to look at the instruction in detail, so I will put up another video which I will show the instruction in detail. It probably take too much time to do that in this video, and you can take a look at the other video if you're interested in looking at the instruction in details. And then one thing I forgot was the tires. Well, I only take one of the front one and one of the rear one out. And as we all know, the tires from Model Factory Heroes are usually of very high quality, and these have the logo pre-printed on the side walls. And this is not rubber. We must take note of that. These are resins, so it won't produce like grease or oils like rubbers, and also I don't think it will harden and crack like rubber does. So these are the very nice tires from Model Factory Hero. Well, all in all, this is an amazing kit again from Model Factory Hero. And I understand, even though this is 1/20th scale, it is a direct reduction from the 1/12 scales that they produced. So the detail, the level of details is definitely on par with the 1/12 scale version. And this particular, Japanese Grand Prix version has never been produced in 1/20 scale by anybody. So this is the one and the only kits available on that version in this scale. And I understand that Model Factory Hero just announced that this kit will be available on this month. So you can, take a look at their websites and ask your dealers to order them if you would like to get hold of one of these. Well, I always like to review some unusual kits like this, like kits from Model Factory Hero, and some unusual plastic kit from the Ukraine or Russia, where not too many people take note of, but these are very unique kits for modelers. So please keep an eye on them, my reviews. And once again, thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.